Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Thursday night, and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. So I didn't really have like a lot of time to prepare today, so I thought we'd do like a simple drawing. I know that over the last couple of days, we've been working on, some coffee paintings, trying to get some bottles done, things like that. But we're just going to kick it back a notch and kind of keep it low key. Um, uh, like again, I didn't really have like a lot of time to put into thinking about like what I was going to work on. So I wanted to kind of revisit something that I've been wanting to revisit for a while, and that is dragons. Like I love dragons. Dragons are the best. I have tried to draw dragons in the past, and I think I did like watercolor painting of a dragon. It turned out all right. And then I think I did a drawing of a dragon as well, maybe in charcoal. And I'm not too happy with that one. And then maybe a pencil drawing, but I screwed that one up too. Anyway, long story short, I have a hit or miss record of drawing dragons. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to try a dragon in this style over here of the elephant that I think turned out really well. So I'm going to try to do a dragon in that kind of style on the brown paper with the charcoal and the the white highlights and stuff like that. I think that'd be a very cool style for a dragon. Moon's in the house. Yeah, very very much. I've never said that word out loud. Gilberto. There you go. Gilberto inspired. That's an inside joke, folks. Gilberto is the dragon that we know and love. And yeah, so like, let's just call this Gilberto. We'll see how it goes. Because the can's in the house, we got Rome Dog in the house, we got Bill Gorman out getting groceries. We're going to just jump in and get started. So the question is, what type of dragon? That's a great question. There's a lot of different type of dragons. I think it's hard to explain, but the best way to explain the dragon that I'm drawing is it's very much inspired by Larry Elmore, who is a like a Dungeons and Dragons artist from back in the day. He's still around. I don't know if he's still working. He's probably retired. I ran into him at a Comic Con a couple of years back. But anyway, that sort of dragon is what I grew up with. So that's probably how this is going to turn out. I don't know. I have a reference picture of what a dragon might look like in front of me, but it's only going to be loosely inspired by that. I'm probably capable of drawing a dragon just from like memory, muscle memory, just because I've drawn so many as a kid. I just want to draw a really good one this time. So we're going to see how this goes. Kevin's in the house. Cool. Just a brief explanation of what I'm doing. I'm starting with this like willow charcoal, and the reason why is because it kind of draws really light, and I think that's going to work out really well for getting the basic shape of this dragon, and then I'll come back with regular charcoal and kind of like emphasize it. And as you can see, it kind of erases very well too. So like if I get a shape going that I'm not happy with, I can really pivot really easily using this willow charcoal. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm gonna start by kind of working out what I think is the big shapes, and then kind of like move into the little shapes. And I recommend that as a way of approaching a drawing, especially one where it's kind of like, I'm not drawing this from a like a portrait or something like, or a photo or something like that of a dog. And this is kind of just filling out what I think a dragon might look like. So it's okay to kind of just like have some fun with it and try to get some shapes in. So I think the basic shape of the dragon is going to be kind of like a serpent, sort of. But then it's going to come down, and then down here, like underneath the mouth, it'll probably have some arms and so on. And I'm just kind of roughing this stuff in. I have no like. I'm definitely not committed to any of these shapes. I might pivot around. Cough it up, dog. Hairball. Because the can says I collected dragons for a long time and had some awesome ones. Um, so you can be critical. That's fine. And by collecting dragons, I assume you mean like pictures of dragons or toys of dragons or things like that, and not actual dragons. Like if you collected actual dragons, I have a lot more questions for you. So we got a mouth going here, I think, coming down. So there are different types of dragons, like in like basically mythology or whatever. You have like Chinese dragons, you have like your standard medieval dragons. You have your Dungeons and Dragons type dragons, and that's basically what I'm doing here. Your Dungeons and dragons are very reptilian. They kind of have like maybe a snake face to them, and then they kind of like flow into maybe like a bit of a dinosaur kind of slash snake slash alligator type look. There's a lot of like horns and stuff coming off of them traditionally. Um, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun with like different lines and stuff like that because like it really is like you get to have especially a lot of fun with the horns. Like you can have basically it's like if you're drawing something like a Bigfoot or something and you're doing the hair of a Bigfoot, you get to have a lot of fun with like how that hair is going all over the place. It's the same way with horns and dragons. You can have a lot of fun with those horns. But the principles are the same. You're looking for your big shapes, and then you're trying to get into your little shapes, and then you're looking for like darkness and light and value and all of that stuff. Um, it's the same as if you're drawing a dog or an elephant, like I did last week. Um, it's just it's a different creature. That's all. And let's see. Hey, okay, Larry, how's it going? It's okay to be late, as long as I'm not late. I have to be on time. You guys can show up whenever you want. And the only reason I have to show up on time is because I'm committed to it. So I think coming out of the mouth of the dragon, we'll kind of get into like some arms over here. Not all dragons have arms. Maybe because I can has like some inside knowledge on what constitutes different types of dragons, but um, there are dragons with arms, dragons without, dragons with no arms in front and just legs in the back, and there's a lot of variety. I don't know if there's like a canonized like breakdown of all the different types of dragons. I think it's mostly left up to the universe that is using the dragons. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, there's probably like a breakdown of all the different species. Harry Potter might have a different breakdown, and so on. So if the arm of this dragon is coming up through here, I kind of want to extend that around the neck or the torso slash neck. It's all kind of like grouped together. And then kind of bring that down over here. So again, I'm just sketching at this point, kind of filling out where these different shapes might be. I'm not even really drawing at this point. I'm just kind of getting an idea of where things are. So this arm kind of comes down. I think I'll have him like, just like resting his hand upon a rock. That's the other cool thing with dragons is you can kind of pose them in a bunch of different ways. You can have a flying dragon. You can have dragons don't even have to have wings. Like, I think some of those Chinese dragons, they don't have wings. It's really up to you. That's what's so great about them. It's a mythical creature. You can kind of have some fun with it. You can do whatever you want. It's not like an elephant where, an elephant looks a particular way or something, and you have to draw exactly like what an elephant might look like. Um, yeah, it's the Dragonian episode. Yep, cool. Yeah, dragon. Yep. A favorite dragon from a movie or film. Hey, that's a great question. Oh, you know what? I was supposed to do trivia. Sorry, I'm not set up to do trivia. I'll have to do that next week. Uh, thanks for a roundabout reminding me that I was supposed to do something. I forgot. Um, my favorite dragon from a movie. So there's a couple of famous dragons that stand out, like Smaug from the Lord of the Rings stories. That's a very famous dragon. You had trying to think of you have those cartoon movies based on dragons. What were the name of the How to Train Your Dragon? Um, that's a very famous dragon. The little black dragon in that. I'm trying to think of some other ones. With CGI and stuff, dragons have gotten pretty cool in the movies. Um, the dragons from Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones, like was kind of like all over the map as far as like quality of storytelling, but they had some pretty badass dragons in them, and I don't know if you guys are watching the new, um, what is it, House of Dragons series on Max. Those dragons are pretty badass in it, and there's a lot more dragons in the new show. Like they went back in time, not back in time, but they're doing prequels and stuff talking about earlier houses of the Targaryens and so on, and they all have like dragons. They're all like dragon riders. It's from a time in the Game of Thrones universe where the dragons were like pretty prolific. By the time you got to the Game of Thrones era with Jon Snow and you know Khaleesi and all that, dragons had pretty much died out. But in House of Dragons, there's dragons all over the place. All right, so you can see that I'm kind of like trying to get in some features of this face as well. So basically, with a dragon, you have kind of like a snake mouth, and then everything just gets pulled back, like you have horns that kind of come out back here. I don't know, like if there's any kind of creature in nature that this is kind of based on. Like you have, obviously it'd be some sort of reptile, but snakes don't look like this. Alligators don't look like this. So I don't know what creature in real life would look like this, but basically everything comes back into like some horns and stuff. Hey, kids in the house, cool. Oh, making fajitas, great, awesome. So anyway, I've always liked dragons. Dragons are cool. Like I said, Larry Elmore, one of my heroes growing up. Um, just I just love the paintings and stuff from like Dungeons and Dragons. I think he did some Dragonlance series art as well. All of that stuff was awesome. And then, again, I just happened to run into him one year at Comic Con. That was so awesome. And like, I haven't seen him again. Like it was just that one time he was there, and I happened to be there that year. I haven't seen him do any Comic Con since. He's in his like, I want to say he's in his 70s. So I don't know if he's like retired. Oh, speaking of people in the 70s, I was talking about like bottle art, right? And I mentioned that my dad was doing some bottle art and that he was doing more sculptural. He actually had, oops, sorry, Geppetto, put you back. He had actually created this bottle. So this is the type of stuff that my dad did. And this is not one of the bottles he submitted, but I wanted to show that off as like an idea of like what type of bottles he's submitting. He's got a little frog on here, like a little Buddha frog. Anyway, this is the type of stuff he did. So I pulled that out just so I could show that off because like I did mention the other day I was going to show off one of his bottles. Anyway, back to the drawing. It's like a weird segue. Hey, Kilowatts in the house. Hey, how's it going? Let's see, what I miss? Larry Dinner and Dragon sounds like a Chinese restaurant for real. This isn't a Chinese dragon though. Like I don't know. Um, because of Ken, sounds like he's an expert on dragons. But yeah, for sure, Chinese dragons are different than these medieval type dragons. And I would say medieval dragons are even different from these like, these more modern, popular um, Dungeons and Dragons style dragons. In fact, that's what I would call these guys, Dungeons and Dragons style dragons, because at some point, Dungeons and Dragons did kind of set them the mold. All right, so I'm going to switch to like a pencil real quick, just so I can kind of like I feel pretty comfortable about the general shape of it. Oh, sorry. I guess I can probably get in, like an idea of some wings. Don't have to get crazy with these wings because they're obviously not all going to fit in the picture. But I do want to suggest, some anatomically making sense type of wings, and they just kind of like flow back. The great thing about these wings is they're like, it's like when you're drawing Batman or something like that. You can just go crazy with his cape. It really doesn't matter where it goes. It's a great way to show motion in the picture, getting those type of aspects just running around. So same with over here. I want these claws just kind of. He's gonna have like maybe 4 fingers. I'm not very good with fingers anyway, so much less dragon fingers. Komodo dragon. All right, so yeah, and then just kind of have like some basic rocks down here or something, just so like he's perched upon something, which is a pretty good pose for like a dragon. If you're not going to have a dragon in flight, you have to basically there's rules for these things, right? So like either you have a dragon in flight or you have a dragon perched upon some sort of rocks or something like that. That's the rules, you just have to do it. There's not much room for variation. Or you can have a dragon like, you know, about to blow fire on somebody. That's another thing. Like most dragons in stories do, breathe fire and stuff, but not necessarily so. Like it's not a requirement. Then there's also some like mythology regarding the fire. Like is the fire necessary to fly? Is it just something that like a defense feature? A bearded dragon. Maybe that's where these things get the inspiration from. I'd have to look up what a bearded dragon, because I'm like kind of curious what led to these modern dragons with all the horns and stuff. Anyway, so like yeah, in some mythologies, they need the fire in order to fly because of like some helium type deal or whatever. Um, Other stories, it's just like part of their attack defense mechanisms and stuff. And then in Dungeons and Dragons, you actually have different types of dragons. Um, Pete's dragon, another very famous dragon. Nice. And then like yeah, in Dungeons and Dragons you have different dragons that spit different things. So like not all of them spit fire. Like sometimes they spit electricity or acid or it's just all over the place. All right. So anyway, now I feel like there's a basic shape there. I can deal with the wings later. So I'm gonna kind of move into that. I'm gonna move into like pencil and try to get like actually some features in here. Um, so of course, like the eyes and stuff. One of the like if you're going to draw or paint a dragon, it's like it's almost like when you're doing like a skull or something like that. You have to have these like inset eyes and stuff, so they're always going to be wrapped in shadows. This is like something that you're going to like draw the viewer's eyes to, and they're always going to be like very shadow outlined and stuff. Then you can kind of like decide from there like whether you want it to be like a reptilian eye, kind of like a snake or something like that, or whatever you want to do. But definitely got to get that shadow in there. That's like absolutely necessary. And then as far as the scales and stuff goes, you're like that elephant I did the other day. You want a lot of texture in there, but you're kind of like on your own on how you want this to be textured. Um, you can decide whether it's like got a lot of horns. You can decide if it's got like, less horns or a smoother face or whatever. Bearded dragon is a female, you know what? Okay. Dragons don't have shoulders or human arms. They could, I don't know. Like this dragon does, kind of. It's got some shoulders, you know. Like I feel like some dragons can. In Game of Thrones, you have a variety of dragons, and I think some of them have that sort of like, you know, forearms that kind of go into their wings, and then other ones have where the wings are like out the back. It's like another appendage. It's not even attached to the arms themselves. So, I mean, the anatomy there and stuff is definitely open to artistic expression. And I've seen both. That dragon is ripped. Yes, that dragon works out. This dragon has been hitting the gym, like lifting some well, like he's gonna be in shape. He fights off knights or whatever. I don't know. I like to come up with stories for the things I'm creating, but I don't have a story for this dragon. I didn't have time to think about it. I'm only drawing a dragon because I didn't really have a lot of time to put into prep for anything else tonight. I just thought, I haven't done a dragon in a while. I think a dragon will look cool in charcoal, and kind of went from there. So you do have to think. So you do, you have a lot of, you have a lot of artistic license when it comes to a mythical creature because really the mythical creature is whatever you want. People can't go and look at it in nature and stuff and say, okay, yeah, you're matching reality. It is really whatever you want. If you're drawing a dragon that's in some sort of universe, like say the Game of Thrones universe, it has to be consistent to those rules. Same with like Dungeons and Dragons and so on. If you're drawing like a traditional like Chinese dragon or some, it's going to look a certain way. But beyond all that, you're kind of like left to your own devices on what you want to do. But this is actually where you get to be like, use your imagination, but also rein it in to make it kind of realistic. So even though you're kind of like able to do whatever you want, you still have to think about anatomy, right? So like you have to think let's pretend that this is a real dragon in the real world. What would its skull look like, And then you have to be consistent on that. So like in this case, I want the skull to kind of come down into this nose area, right? So if I have this ridge over here, I need some sort of mirrored version of that on this side, right? So like it's just keeping it realistic. So in my mind, the skull kind of probably comes around like this, and then kind of goes into these this eye ridge area, and then forehead up here, kind of like a snake. And then you have kind of like a little bit of a not cheekbone, but you have the eye socket that kind of comes down into your actual mouth. And then I think I can get dark here without and leave room for teeth. And then it kind of comes down to, and then you have a snout of some sort. So even though we're kind of inventing this dragon from scratch, uh, there are things in nature in the real world that this dragon is kind of mimicking. So it is mimicking a little bit of a snake. It's mimicking a little bit of maybe a crocodile or a dinosaur or something like that. Probably a bit of dinosaur. I don't know if dinosaurs have these kind of like teeth or whatever, but they do have sometimes this sort of face, which makes a lot of sense because that's probably where a lot of dragon myths came from. Somebody probably came across a like a dinosaur skeleton or something and was like, "Whoa, what is that?" Like that thing must be a dragon or something. I don't know how that conversation went, but anyway. So yeah, you just kind of you just kind of borrow from like nature and stuff, and kind of Mushu the dragon, played by Eddie Murphy. Mushu the dragon, played by Eddie Murphy. There is the dragon in Shrek. Is that what you're talking about? But that wasn't. That was Donkey's girlfriend. That wasn't like that wasn't Eddie Murphy. I don't think, unless he played both characters. I don't know. What was that dragon's name? Anyway, like I was saying, so like even though you're making up the anatomy of this dragon, you're still kind of borrowing from real world things. So like dinosaurs and whatnot, and then you're still having to deal with like the physics of the environment. So in this environment, there's some light somewhere. So I'm thinking the light's probably over here, and it's casting light on the creature, and then it's also casting shadows and stuff. That's going to happen whether it's a made up world or not, so like you gotta you gotta remember these things when you're working on your picture, just to add some realism. So in this case, I think I'm gonna cap off his like brow with like a horn. You can really get like you can kind of go overboard with horns and a dragon if you want to, but I think that they kind of make the picture. All right, so if I have horns over here, probably have corresponding horns over here. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but like I'm making up features, but I'm trying to keep it symmetrical. So like if I put horns over here, I kind of want them over here as well. That sort of stuff. But other than that, you're kind of on your own. Let's get some teeth up in here. Some fangs, I guess. Mushu was in Mulan. Oh, Mulan, yeah. I didn't know that was Eddie Murphy. Huh. Been a while since I've seen Mulan. The dragon in Shrek was Elizabeth. Now that I did not know. I did not know that that dragon had a name and that it was Elizabeth. That's amazing. I don't know why that's amazing. Maybe it's not amazing. Maybe I just thought it like. All right, so we got some dragon teeth in here, and then maybe a couple little ones back here. Just kind of suggest them. I don't want to get crazy with the teeth and stuff. Like, and then we can get some shadow in here because that's one of the cool features. You have like a gaping mouth. Now, if you wanted to, like, I'm probably not going to do it because this is charcoal. But if you were painting, you could decide whether or not this dragon is blowing fire or, oh, because of Ken, see, because of Ken's the expert, and he says that this is looking great. Cool. All right, so I'm feeling more confident. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. I'm going to call you BIC. It's for short. I think I've done that before. That's easier. Um, so at this point, you can decide whether or not you want the dragon, like if you were painting it or something like that, you can decide, like, what is the dragon breathing? Is he breathing fire? Is he not breathing anything? You can make those decisions. Because this is charcoal, I'm just going to draw his mouth. I'm not going to have him breathing fire or anything like that. But you can also decide, like, well, what kind of stuff does my dragon breathe? Like I said, it's not always fire. You can have these guys breathing electricity or, you know, whatever you want to destroy things with. It's up to you. One of my favorite ones is like acid. So like a dragon like who just kind of spews magma or acid or something like oh, Smog. Yeah, Smog in The Hobbit. He basically he it wasn't just fire. It was just like he was spitting lava essentially. You can go that kind of crazy with it if you want, but it's up to you. Again, dragons are great because you have like a lot of artistic license to do whatever you want. Now, this is probably your traditional Dungeons and Dragons type dragon, so there are certain kind of rules here and stuff like that. Like I already mentioned the horns and everything, basically all these guys have that kind of stuff. But also, you can take some of these dragons, that people draw. They also incorporate hair. So like you can have the dragon coming down back into like a mane of hair and stuff like that, or you can have like a little goatee coming down. I always thought that was kind of cool. So like um, hair or no hair, that's up to you. Just have a lot of fun with it. So I am liking this. Okay, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of a thinner chin than what I had before. And I think I'm gonna cap his mouth off with just like a little horn coming down here. You can never have too few horns. Horns are cool. Um, just sort of like defense along the side of his mouth, I guess. I had no idea Kid is a connoisseur on dragons, right? Surprising, huh? Like I said, I have done a couple of dragons on this show, and I think Kid was actually had a lot of comments about some of the other ones I did. This is probably going to turn out better than some of the other dragons I've done because, like I have learned a little bit since then, and I have like learned how to be patient and actually put in some of these features that make these dragons look cool. Um, so again, you can get kind of nuts with all this stuff that comes back from the face, but what I like to do is I like to put in like some webbing and stuff that's coming out of the ear, and I like that because um,
not only did I draw dragons when I was growing up, but I also drew like a lot of Batman, right? And there's something between the two of them that I really like drawing, and that is like the webbing of the wings. You know, whether it's bat wings or whether it's dragon wings, um, you get you get this like little flaps and stuff inside, and I like those because one, you can just kind of go crazy with them. You know, they're almost like sails on a ship, and two, you know, you get to have some fun with the shadows and shading and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have this come up as like some structure for those wings. You know, cap those with like little. Can never have too many claws, right? Or horns or whatever you want to call them. And then probably like another little one down here. The thing is, when you're doing the webbing, it has to adhere to something, right? So like if you build that structure in, you can just kind of run the webbing between it. Or maybe webbing is the wrong word. Flaps? Um, they're not wings here. These are on like the side of his head. Yeah, kind of bring this out. I think I need another structural piece there. All right, and then for symmetry, again, you know, you got all this going on over here, so you should probably, so you can have it all slick back, right? Or you can have it kind of fluffed out, like, what are those, what are those like little lizards or something that kind of puff out on the sides? Maybe that's a dragon, or not like a dragon, a dinosaur from like Jurassic Park or something. I don't know. I feel like one of you guys that are smarter than me can figure that out. But anyway, I want this to be kind of slick back, but also kind of come out a little bit on the side, right? So that we can get it all in there. So for symmetry, you have these like little webbed areas over here, and then these little webbed dragons in Avatar. Yeah, there you go. Man, you guys are on the ball with all these dragons. I really should have come prepare for trivia, like I said I was gonna. I completely forgot. We'll do trivia at some point. I always forget to that there's only like, and so usually we used to do these the second live stream on a Friday, and I felt like there was more time in between. I always forget that you know, I just did a live stream like the other day, and we're already doing another live stream. So I don't. I should really put more thought into these things between. They always catch me unawares because I suck. I'm just really terrible at these things. I'm getting better though, I think. Anyway, another horn coming back. All right, so I think that's a pretty cool dragon face. Um, I'll come back to it here in a little bit, kind of like clean it up, smooth out some features, get some shadows in there. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we're only a half hour into this. So again, you know, figuring out where your light's coming from. It looks like the light's kind of coming from like around here. That's casting a shadow here, but also here. So I think it's safe to, yeah, okay. So the light would actually be coming in from over here. My bad. All right, so that means back here would be casting shadow. So I can go ahead and pencil that in. Um, you know, you're going to have some shadow here in this webbing coming back. And then like less shadow the further you get away from the face. So this shadow here allows you to kind of like accent some of these details, which is cool. Because like a dragon's face is going to be like really gnarly in terms of like, I don't know, like texture and detail and stuff like that. It's basically like an alligator in terms of features. Let's see, there'd also be like a little ridge through here. Yeah, I feel like I can add a little bit more to this face as I go along, but I don't want to dwell entirely on the face. I also want to get in some of these other features. So of course the face here is going to cast a lot of shadow coming down. As Kilo mentioned, this dragon's pretty ripped, so you have to think about the anatomy of the muscle structure and how that plays upon light. So like, you know, this part here would probably be a muscle. So You're going to you're going to get some rounding of that shadow. Puff the Manic Dragon. I like that. Hey Richard, how's it going? Um, it has been a while since I've drawn a dragon. I'm so used to doing like real world wildlife and stuff. I forget about some of these fantastic beasts that I enjoy. Fantastic beasts, there you go. Like that's funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, there were some dragons in Fantastic Beasts. Of course, there's some dragons in Harry Potter. There weren't like a lot of dragons in the movie version of Harry Potter and stuff, but they were part of the mythology. Like, some people would go away to train for with dragons and so on. And I think there was that story where they had to ride a dragon for some reason. I don't know. But I do like all of those type stories. I love Lord of the Rings type stuff, Harry Potter type stuff, just fantasy in general. Um, Fantasy, sci-fi, all of that stuff. Growing up, those were the books I read a lot. So like, well, that's not the only books I read. I liked some of the books that they assigned us in school, which is just like classic literature and stuff. I grew up liking that so much that even as an adult, I would read those books even though I didn't have to. Um, but as a kid, I also really enjoyed reading fantasy novels about like Dungeons and Dragons essentially. There was a series. I am kind of curious if anybody else read that series because I have never really seen it played up very well. I think it would make a good movie series. It was called the Deathgate Cycle. Um, it was by Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss. I think that's who they were. But anyway, it was a really cool story. They had dragons in it, but the storyline was that at some point the world got split into worlds that represented each of the different elements. So there was like a water world, there was an air world, there was like a fire world, and like a earth world. And they had different dragons for each of those worlds. So, obviously in the air world, you had the traditional dragon that flies around. Um, oh, thanks, MJ. I appreciate that. Um, yes. Oh, Dragonheart with Sean Connery. Great movie. Yeah, good one. Oh, man, you're coming up with all these great ones. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so anyway, the dragons in the air world were your traditional flying around dragons. The dragons in the water world were more like eels. They were still dragons, but they were more like like they didn't even have wings. They just kind of like um, kind of swam through the water and stuff like that. I don't remember what some of the dragons were in the other worlds and stuff. It's been a while since I read that. I always thought that that would make a good movie or like a good series or something like that. I would love to see them do that. Oh, The Witcher. The Witcher has dragons. Great show. If you ever get a chance to watch it on like Netflix and stuff. There's probably actual shows all about dragons on Netflix. I can't think of any, but so again, we're just kind of sketching it in and we're kind of deciding where, shadows and stuff would be, what parts would be catching the light. We're not like super focused on making this, like a really elegant drawing at this point, but and we may not, we may just keep it kind of loose like this. I think the elephant turned out kind of loose. Maybe that's just the style. But for now, it's more important to kind of fill out where all these different pieces are. Um, like he is kind of jacked up, but and this is also his belly, so it's not just chest and stuff. But you could make them like anatomically human, so you could have like I don't whatever these are and so on in it. But I have just a scaly kind of neck coming down in this. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I think at this point, I think I have enough of it done where I will try to kind of smooth some of this stuff out just to see where we're at. So if I do smooth some of this stuff out, maybe I'll start looking a little more rendered. Rendered is the word I use. I don't know if it's correct, but um, rendered is the word I use to just represent more like finished or less sketchy, I guess. Where you kind of take the shadows and the highlights and stuff and you start putting them in so that they look less drawn and more natural. I borrow the term from 3D modeling, which I sometimes do. I'm not an expert at 3D modeling. I do it sometimes. It's a lot of fun creating, you know, creatures and stuff. And some of the stuff, I actually wanted to make a video at some point about some of the similarities between 3D modeling and, you know, drawing, because it is kind of similar in some ways. Like you do build mass and so on when you're doing 3D modeling, and then you do kind of like work with that to add some lights and structure and, you know, texture and material and all of that stuff. So it is kind of interesting. And like when you're trying to draw like a human head or something like that, you are working with planes and shapes and so on. So it'd be kind of cool to do like a video talking about 3D modeling and how that might translate to drawing. One of these days. One of these days I'll just be a full-time professional YouTuber and like creates all of these different things because they have nothing else to do. I'm not there yet. Give me a few 100 years. Anyway, what are you guys talking about in there? Can you catch a dragon with a dragnet? Ah, that's good. I like that. That dragon is sly. Kotor? I don't know what that means. Okay, Larry's throwing something in the oven. I wonder what he's having. Kevin says, did I show you the 3D model of the dragon and the egg it lives in? No, that sounds awesome. I do want to see that. That'd be kind of cool, like a baby dragon living in an egg. That would be really cool, actually. Kind of some of the shadow going up in here. I can see that I need to work on some of that structure up there, but this is the other thing. So like rendering this out like this gives you the opportunity to see what things don't make sense. So like, you know, do I have enough structure here to support these like ear wings? I don't know. Should there be some shadow below it? Yes. Get some of that going. Shade some of this stuff in. This chest plate, I guess, can go up like that, I guess. Let's see. I'll text it to you. Cool. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah. I would like to get a 3D printer. I don't have one. Um, I may never have one, but I haven't justified the expense of it yet, and maybe one of these days. But yeah, I do like 3D modeling anyway. I like making 3D models just to kind of like figure out things, figure out like, you know, like if I in an ideal world, like if I had plenty of time to like kind of map out every big piece of art that I do, like say I did a big painting or something like that, I would love to be able to go in and create like a 3D model of it beforehand just to kind of figure out where everything is. You know, people do things like that. People do like, I don't know, traditional versions of that as well, non-digital versions. Uh, they're called studies, right? So like when going into a painting, you might do a study of the lighting or the, you know, like in this case, drawing a dragon to figure out, well, what's the anatomy of the dragon that I'm going to be painting or something like that. Um, you can do all that stuff with 3D as well, 3D modeling as well. So, and then you create like really cool model essentially for you to like create your artwork from. And I feel like this is probably where AI art actually does help in some cases. So like AI art, it sucks, right? It's terrible. It's not good for artists. It just rips people off and so on. But the upper hand is that you can easily create like a reference um, piece that you can work from. Like if you wanted to draw a dragon and you had no idea what a dragon looked like, you could have AI art quickly create you a reference picture or something like that that you can work from. But short of that, like if you know how to do 3D modeling, you can just create your own. You don't need AI to do that for you. Some of this stuff. So again, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with these wings back here. I'm just gonna like get some of the smokiness in there. All right, so that's cool. Continuing on. Let's go bourbon. Good bourbon tonight, guys. Oh, I found out more about, sorry. Yeah, back to the whole bottle stuff that I'm doing. So like there was a question last week about whether or not there is like an in-person auction. I did look into it. There is an in-person auction, but it's a private ticketed event. So that is not something that's open to the general public. In fact, I haven't even seen any information about how you could get tickets to it. So I'm assuming it's just for like rich folks, people who like, yeah, let's just throw $1 million at something or whatever. I don't know, but anyway, that does not seem to be open to the general public. So the other side of it is the online auction, and that does not have like a real world component. It's basically they put up the bottles on a website that you can like bid on them and stuff like that. So you can't really go in person. I did hear that they may have like an artist reception or something. So like that might be something I could live stream or at least capture video of or something like that. If so, I will definitely keep you guys informed of that. But as of right now, it doesn't look like. Now I'm still going to do like a stream about it. So like we'll go to the website together and we'll talk about some of the bottles there. I think that might be kind of cool. You know. But I don't know if that'd be like a long stream or anything like that. Definitely not like a in-person component that I know of, unless there's that artist reception. So I will find out more and keep you guys informed. But so far, that's all I got. Tornado warning here. Be back. Go down to the basement, man. If you don't have a basement, crap. I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Don't die. Please don't die. There you go. Art shows are not worth it. Seek shelter. That would be totally embarrassing if you wake up like, in the next state and stuff because like you got blown away or something. Somebody asks you, why didn't you head and got shelter or something like that? And you'd be like, I was watching a live stream of an art show. That would be bad. So please seek shelter. Take care of yourself. Yeah, plus all of this stuff's recorded anyway. You can watch it later. It was pretty windy here today too. Like probably I mean it wasn't a tornado obviously, but this is definitely tornado season. Um and I've got like a really crappy car that like doesn't do well in the wind. Like I always feel like it's gonna be blown off the road or something like that. It was catching some pretty good wind today. And there was like these little dust devils kind of like floating up. That was kind of cool. What do you call a lizard on a toilet? I feel like I'm being set up for a punchline here. Let me think. A lizard on a toilet. I don't know. What do you call a lizard on a toilet? There was a tornado up by Cincinnati. Oh, that sucks. We go outside to watch a tornado around these parts. I probably would too, but you're not supposed to. So like, I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to. I don't want to be a bad influence on people. But yeah, I would probably go out and look at them too. A Komodo dragon. I like it. That's a great one. Thanks, kid. That's perfect. Oops, sorry. I just apologized to my glass. Sorry. Sorry, glass. Let's get some more features in here. Komodo dragon. I love it. That's good. Welcome back, Larry. Hope whatever you cooked was good. Or, I guess, no, you said you were putting some in the oven, so I guess it wouldn't be ready yet. Hey, look, I got a proper tissue for my nose. I don't have to use a paper towel. All right, so some more shadows down here to kind of separate from the muscle of the arm. And then I really need to define these scales here in the chest a little bit better, but we'll see how that goes with time. I'll keep that as one of my last ones. Switch pencils here. So what I like about drawing is it really is just kind of working over things multiple times, getting those shadows and getting all those values right. And you see the picture develop as you go along. I really like going back and watching some of the time lapses to see that like in kind of real time, how things actually change. Hey, thanks, Willie. Oh, wow, this is really coming to life. Great work, J-Man. Thanks, Moon. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all the compliments and stuff like that. So sometimes some of the texture and stuff is really just a matter of scribble. So I'm scribbling in these scales, right? And like you can get a little bit crazier with it and stuff like that, but this is what they call simplifying. So it's not like you can draw every single scale. You can do some shadows and stuff like that to indicate that that there are scales and so on. But it's not like you can draw each individual scale. So you just kind of scribble in like an impression of scales. There you go. Definitely got to make this darker so that you can see a separation between the arm and the chest. Might have to sharpen this pencil. Ah, Sunny in 75. Yeah, we had that here as well. It was so beautiful. I didn't want to do any work. I just wanted to go out and go kayaking because I haven't yet this season. And I feel kind of bad because here it's not really supposed to be this warm. Like we usually still have frost until like Easter, and you know, there's the old saying like don't plant your veggies until after Easter because you might get hit with like some snow and stuff. But and I guess you still could, but I don't know. It's been really super pleasant lately. Like there's a St. Patrick's parade this weekend, and usually when I go to that, it's like so cold. You have to like either wear a jacket or at least a hoodie or something like that. It feels like spring, summertime weather out there right now. Odd. Hopefully that's not that whole like climate change thing that they're talking about. Hopefully this isn't like permanent. It's just like a temporary thing. Um, like if it's a temporary thing, I'm happy, to get the little break from winter. If this is how it's always going to be, there's probably something bad about it to do with that. That's not good. I worry about like insects and stuff, right? So like, when when the when the weather's a little weird and you get spring a little bit early and stuff like that, like I think insects and stuff decide to wake up a little early, and that's not good. Or I think that's not good. I don't know. It seems like it wouldn't be good for the insects to be confused. It's like It's like that eclipse that's coming up soon. By the way, if anybody has the ability to go see the eclipse, you definitely want to go and see the eclipse. This is one of those things that you should travel for, just because. And that's April 8th, by the way. So like the eclipse is one of the only total eclipses I think in North America for the next like 45 years or something like that. So it's definitely worth going to go see this year. Like you don't want to wait around for the next one. You may not be around for it, is what I'm saying. And it's pretty awesome. Like you can see the total eclipse only about like 2 hours away from like where I live. So that's cool. And my understanding is that you definitely want to see the total eclipse. Like you could see like 99% of the eclipse here, like where I live, like without going anywhere. But my understanding is that's not good enough. You really want the full total eclipse experience. So I'm going to go and check that out. Anyway, the whole reason I brought it up is because during the eclipse, the insects get a little confused. They think it's nighttime. And so you hear the, like, I don't know, the crickets start chirping and all these other weird things that you would see at night, um, because the insects are confused because the sun is going away. So if that's what's going on with this weird weather that we're having, that doesn't seem that all that good, for insects to get confused about, um, you know, what they're supposed to be doing, whether they're supposed to be hibernating. I don't even know how insects work. Do they hibernate? Do they sleep? Do they die during the winter? I don't know. All I know is that they shouldn't be out yet. So, so I'm concerned. I'm concerned about, things like that. I don't know the science of it. I'm not here to argue it because I don't know it. I just think that it's kind of concerning when you have really nice weather when you're not supposed to. I'll take it if it's temporary, though, because it is nice out. I do want to go kayaking. Maybe I'll go kayaking tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Friday? Yeah, that sounds cool. Nah, I got work to do. I can't go kayaking tomorrow. Your son's 21st birthday is April 8th. That's cool. Are you gonna be able to see the eclipse? Like you can look up the totality map, like where all it goes and stuff like that. It's definitely worth going to go see, like traveling if you can and stuff. I mean, it's a big deal. I I'm probably not doing it justice. I'm not giving, the big sales pitch and stuff like that. But it is supposed to be something that's like a unique experience that you don't want to miss in your life. Okay, Larry says, I read the LexArt thing today. So one bottle from each of the 94 artists will be auctioned at a ticketed auction. Yep. And then the rest will be in an online auction. Yep. So the ticketed auction, um, I don't even know how like one would get a ticket. I think that's so private that they don't even offer those tickets to anybody. So that sucks. And then um, I do think that they may have some sort of like, I don't know, like get together or something for the artists. I hope they do because I'd like to meet some of the other artists who are submitting stuff. That would be cool. Because like, I don't know. Oh, thanks, MJ. Oh yeah, mosquitoes suck. See, it's too early for mosquitoes. That's all I'm getting at. It's too early for mosquitoes. Go back to sleep, mosquitoes. We'll holler at you later. Thanks, MJ. I appreciate that. Thanks always for totality. Oh, it's always from me for totality. That's funny. Jeremy, will you see the eclipse? I will see the eclipse. I'm traveling for the eclipse. Like I said, I have to travel about 2 hours away, because I'm not in the totality area. I have to go out to like Indiana, I think, or up to Ohio or something like that. But it's not that far and it's worth it. So I am going to travel for it, and I am going to check it out. And I'll probably like, even though it's not art related, I might actually shoot a video or something, share it with you guys, just because it's so cool, you know. And I have a little contraption that I made where it's like attached to like because there was the one in 2017, so like I kind of like have something for that, but like I didn't go and see the totality for that 2017 one. Um, but I did have like a telescope that I rigged up with like a little viewing thing so that I could see, you know, what all was going down and stuff like that without having to like wear sunglasses. Anyway, I'm ready. I'm so excited about it actually. Let's see. Got this here. I mean, I think that this is looking cool. I mean, it looks pretty badass, right? Like that's what I promised. I promised a badass dragon. This isn't done, but it's starting to look badass. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we're only like at an hour in, so we're good. I think we're getting close to where this is pretty rendered, and we can get into some of the other aspects of it, like highlights and so on. The moon will be near its closest position to the Earth, so it'll make for a longer eclipse. Yeah, so my understanding is if you go to if you're in the path of totality, and again, you guys can look up, where all this is and stuff like that. I recommend going to one of these places. Um, you get like a full 4 minutes of totality. Now, why does that matter? Because like where I'm at right now, like without doing anything, I can go out and look at the sky and it'll be like 96% totality or even up to 99 or something. It's pretty good. But here's what you wouldn't get. You wouldn't get the length of the experience because like the closer you are to the path of totality, the longer it's going to last, like up to 4 minutes. Like if you're on the outskirts of that totality, you may only catch it for like a minute or something like that, which kind of sucks, right? You want as long as you can. So that's one aspect of it. So you catch it at the path of totality, you're going to have a longer experience. The second part of it is like there's a big difference between 99.9% and 100% totality. I know it sounds we need full totality, guys, but there is a big difference. So the difference comes into whether you see that corona, right? That the very famous thing you see with the eclipse, where you see the halo around the moon. That's important, right? So you're only going to get that with 100% totality, so that's worth it, right? Um, and then let's see, what's the other aspect? And then the other aspect of it is um, when you're there and you have the eclipse going on, my understanding again, I've never been to one of these. I'm really looking forward to this because this is a once in a lifetime thing. The one in uh, 2017, I only caught like one of those 96%. So I'm going for full totality, guys, this time, and that's what I recommend to you guys. But the other thing that you get when you're there in that full totality is you get the 360-degree sunset, right? So if you think about that, like it sounds cool and everything, but when you really think about that, so like every time else in your life, you have always seen the sunset and in the west, and it's always been in one direction. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're going to only see it in one side at one side of the sky. That's just the way sunsets work. During this event, it would be a 360-degree sunset. So, like all sides, everywhere you look, it's going to be sunset. How awesome is that? Like, that's worth traveling for, in my mind. So, Richard says, I'm welcome to come by. Yeah, I forgot you were in Indiana. I've got to look up exactly where I'm going. I haven't 100% decided yet, but I'm gonna probably just go and probably just make a day out of it. I'm not going to like get a like bed and breakfast or anything or a hotel like some people are. I don't mind just driving out there, watching it, and then coming back home. It's a day trip. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I haven't decided where I'm going to go, but it's probably going to be like a park or something, someplace that doesn't mind you just hanging out. So, by the way, I'm building this like chest armor here, essentially. This is almost like plate mail. Like, really serious scaling here. Anyway, so uh, I can't emphasize it enough. You don't even have to be a nerd, right? Like I'm a total nerd when it comes to this astronomy stuff. So I just want to see it from that standpoint. Um, Go and see it just because of like the life experience. It's just something you don't see every day. Like when would you ever see a 360-degree sunset? It ain't gonna happen. That's you know, go and see it. Take the opportunity, guys. We can always count on. Turn around, bright eyes. There you go. Hey, that's a great song reference. I like that song. Turn around, bright eyes. No, I shouldn't be singing. Just stop. I'm gonna stop. Don't get me singing. Come on, guys. That is not one of my talents. I cannot sing. I can't sing. I can't really dance. I've tried to dance. Um, I am the first guy to try to dance at weddings and stuff like that, just for fun. But I am not good at it. All right. So let me kind of emphasize this. Now that we got a bit of an arm going here, I feel like I can kind of emphasize this a little bit more. I don't want to lose my horns down here though. All right. So that's looking pretty good. I feel like I need to get this arm in, and then we can maybe start looking at some highlights with the remaining time we have. I don't need to be totally totaled. I'm just here bouncing off the edges. I'm telling you guys, man, you want totality. Totality. Not just half-tality. You want totality. That's my understanding, though. And if you don't believe me, like most of you guys are familiar with that guy from Smarter Every Day, go watch his thing on it. He has a really good video about it, about why you should take this seriously and why you should try go ahead and make an effort to travel if you can to go and see it. You know, get some FOMO going. If you're missing out, because it is something you would regret. I think the next one is I don't know. I want to say 2045 or something like that. And you have to go all the way up to like say Wyoming or something to see that one. So bit of a travel depending on where you're at, but worth it. This guy is jacked. I mean, look at these arms. You don't need any of those things when you draw like a badass. Thanks, kid. I appreciate it. But a singing drawing badass, that would be cool, right? Like somebody who can sing and draw and stuff. That's the full package. So you're drawing, you're talking, and you're singing all at one time. That's entertainment. Talk about like a performance artist. I mean, that would be cool. All right, let's see. Gotta kind of work this out to where 1, 2, 3, 4 got to be symmetrical. So it really doesn't matter how many fingers you give your dragon, but that you should have the same on both sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy should have like a claw up here. Again, I used to draw like not they didn't look this good. But I used to draw all kinds of dragons when I was growing up. I just love dragons. Look up that guy, Larry Elmore. Oh, I think it's Elmore. I might be getting his name wrong this entire time. It's Larry something. But I think it is Larry Elmore. And he just draws these amazing dragons. And it's kind of the template. Again, this guy, he drew these dragons maybe like during the 80s or something like that. And they kind of set the template for what dragons would look like in the movies and in other books and so on. There might have been somebody out there drawing, your modern dragons and stuff before him, but I think he originated the basic anatomy of a dragon. I don't know of any other drawings that were being done before then. Except for like cultural things. Like if you go back in ancient Chinese times or something like that. Obviously, they'd had dragons, and there's European medieval dragons and so on in art. Um, but as far as your modern rendition of a dragon, something like this, yeah, that stuff. I don't know if that existed before Larry Elmore. I want to say that he might have originated all of that. Again, doesn't really matter what sort of thing you want your dragon to do. There's only so many poses. Either he's flying in the air or he's resting upon some rock somewhere. So, you definitely got to make sure the rock gets in here. Drawing rocks is especially like when they're not the focal point. You get to have a lot of fun with that. You can be very loose and stylistic with your rocks. You just kind of draw these lines and stuff. Usually, your rocks are kind of like like there's so many different things you have to know as an artist, but some of these things are just basic stuff you learned in school. So there's sedimentary rock, which is like rock that has the like horizontal lines and stuff in it. Just draw those. Those are always the fun ones. I don't even remember what the other ones are, but those are the ones that a dragon will be sitting on. He will be sitting on sedimentary rock. I have to turn off my notifications. So just get a little bit of a hint of a stone in here. So I feel like a lot of the dragons there, I need some more wing stuff at this point. So let's see, do I want to use this or do I want to use the dark green? I'm going to use this. All right. So again, I don't want to get too crazy with these wings. I just want to suggest them. And this is what I really like about charcoal. You try to do this with like a pencil. Yeah, he could be laying on treasure. That's a good point. So he's either on rock or treasure or something like that. But he's always crouched upon some sort of like surface if he's not flying. He's always got his arms up like he's posed on it. I don't know how I feel about this arm over here. I'll have to come back and mess with that. So this is what I really like about charcoal. Imagine trying to do this with like pencil, just like laying down all of this stuff. It's just going to be annoying. But you can do that with charcoal, and then you can kind of blend it out so that it looks kind of just ghostly, just kind of going up in there. And I think that's fine. So I don't want a lot of definition to this because I think I'm going to do that with the white when I get to the white part. Because remember, when you're drawing on this this brown paper, you're only drawing the shadows because the midtone itself is a brown, and then you're coming back with the white highlight later. And then that's your 3 layers. So I think that kind of comes back like that. 3. I think that's fine. All right. So that's pretty cool. All right. So I think that's good for now. I'm going to start working on some of the highlights, I think, after I have some more bourbon. You think he ate the treasure? Hey, in some of the mythology, dragons do hoard treasure because it is their food or it's their bedding or something like that. Like some of the mythology is that dragons prefer gold because it's soft or something. I don't know. People get pretty creative with their storytelling, like, and it's different for all the different books and stuff. Basically, you have basically a universe, and in each universe, you have a different type of story. There's an animated show. I don't know where you would find it. Maybe it's on YouTube or something like that. But I remember watching the crap out of that as a kid, and it was called Flight of Dragons. It was such a good fantasy cartoon movie. And what I remember liking about it is it really did try to get into like the science of a dragon. Like, how does a dragon actually work? Because what they had was this guy who was from, like the modern times, and he somehow got like thrown into this fantasy world. I don't know how that happened. but he was like recruited or something. But anyway, he finds himself in this fantasy world, but he's from modern times, so he's trying to figure out how does dragons work from like a scientific perspective, and in that story, they did have like a pretty good explanation for it. So basically, in that story, he has like helium inside of him, which causes him to fly, and then there's like a little spark or something in the back of his mouth, and when he wants to go down, um, like land or something like that, he'll expel the gases that are inside of him. It sparks, it causes the fire. So there was this whole scientific explanation of how dragons work. And I love that story. I'm gonna have to try to look that up and see if that's still around. Flight of Dragons. That was such a good story. There was a love story to it too. It was nice. One of the early animes, I think. A lot of people don't realize anime's been around for a long time. But anime is just like Japanese animation. Japanese animation's been out forever. Like that was out in the '80s. It's not new. Some of the stuff they're doing with it is it's definitely new. But I remember watching you know, hell, Speed Racer. That was animation or anime back in the day. But there was a lot of good stuff back in the day, as far as animated material go. What we got in here? Packer Jack. Jeremy is describing Yen's next documentary, Game of Drums. Hey, hater, how's it going, man? Larry says, so kid, did you get any other, hey, guess what, emails? Oh, did you get any emails from Tyler? Because that's what it sounds like that Tyler would send. I like Tyler. He's cool. Every day he sends me a, hey, guess what, Jeremy? It's usually sports related or something like that. But he's having a good time out there in like Montana, Wyoming. I forget where exactly he is, but Tyler's a good guy. He's got some issues, same as anybody else, but he's a good kid. Good egg. So again, with this highlighting, I like to use it sparingly. So in my mind, it's only meant to represent the places that I really want to either call attention to or really want to kind of highlight. Um, I feel like, the tips of these structural pieces out here, those are good. Obviously the teeth, the whites of the eyes. In fact, I could probably grab this. I like this the stick stuff because it's like softer and I can really get, there you go. Much whiter eyes. There you go. So this is good for like when um, there's like already some charcoal in there and I really need to get like some stuff over. This is a little bit harder. This is a white charcoal. Oh, somebody was asking me in my elephant video, how do I do the white? So for future people who are watching this, I use white pastel. So you can get white charcoal, but it's basically pastel anyway. And it's basically like a chalk. It's not technically a chalk. And there's a difference in the binder. I don't know what the difference is, but there is a difference in the binder. And you can get this pastel in pencil form or stick form. And it doesn't have to be white. Like if you really wanted to, you could make these pictures where you have like red as a highlighter or something like that. You can get different kind of pastels. I like to use this traditional drawing method of using tone paper, black charcoal, and then like white for the highlights. I think it's a really cool look. I've been doing it a lot lately, or well, more so than usual, I guess. Um, I really started liking this from drawing on lunch bags, and I just like the look of it. So I went off and got some tone paper that it comes in a big roll that I can just roll out and cut it off anytime I wanted to do something, one of these pictures. But anyway, that's all it is. It's just white pastel. Um, and you can pick up white charcoal basically at any drawing art supply store. Like a lot of charcoal kits come with the white charcoal in it. That's all it is. It's just white pastel. Like there is no such thing in the world as white charcoal. It's just what they call it. But anyway, the technical differences between some of these different things I mentioned. I don't know them. You can look them up, but you can use them interchangeably. You can use the white charcoal pencil that you get with your charcoal kit, or you can, buy a set of pastel pencils and sticks and stuff like that. And either way, you're good to go. Let's see, what are you guys talking about? I like using the pencil because it feels like you're sketching, but I also enjoy covering large amounts of area or things that where I really want it to be opaque with the stick. So I use both like interchangeably for different reasons. Um, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like drawing like this, where I like, most people hold their pencil like this. I like drawing like this. It makes me feel like a real artist. Draw whatever way you feel comfortable. There are technical reasons why you should draw like this, but do whatever you feel comfortable with. If you're trying to develop good habits, draw like this because you paint like this, right? So like, you use your pencil as a paintbrush essentially. Also, like I could easily end up with charcoal all over the side of my hand if I'm not reaching across the paper. So like if I'm going like this and stuff, I'm probably going to get charcoal all through here. Versus if I'm using this as like a brush, I can reach across the paper, and get my stuff in there. So little tips and stuff. So like down here in this paw, we call it. It's nice to add some highlights just to kind of like give this some definition. Like you do have like some bone structure in there. Like it's like I don't know. Sometimes like your pencil might get a little muddy or dirty or something like that, or you're going over a piece of charcoal that like you can't really cover. Come back with the soft pastel, and you should be able to do that. Yeah. I like to just add random lines right here because it feels like it's good texture for like a scaly kind of skin. So like if I come in and I just like add you know, little scribbles and stuff, it ends up looking like scales, right? So these little spottings, I guess, ends up looking like highlights on scales and stuff. And I can do the same over here. Again, it's a fantasy creature. You can draw it any way you want. But there are rules to like, physics and stuff like that. You want kind of like your light and stuff to work realistically, regardless of whether it's a fantasy creature or not. Theoretically, you can draw a dragon as like a piece of line art, two-dimensional and stuff, and not have to worry about all this stuff. But if you're going to go three-dimensional, you have to think about shadows and highlights and all that jazz. And then this is what's kind of cool about working in these three layers of shadow, midtone, wait, shadow, midtone, which is the paper itself, and then highlights. You can have entire, so this right here, there's nothing drawn here. You can draw entire features in the white, and now you have like extra highlighted areas, right? So like say I wanted a horn at the end of his elbow or something like that. I think that's a feature a dragon might have. I can kind of just highlight all of that in, even though I didn't draw it before. So like just because I didn't draw it before doesn't mean that I'm restricted. I can still draw these things in highlights only if I wanted to. Now over here, it's going to be, because I drew this and I wanted to be symmetrical, over here it wouldn't be as highlighted. So I want to kind of add a little horn coming off that elbow. to kind of represent the symmetry. Anyway, Jeremy, I've been watching your live stream since it began an hour ago. Thanks, man. I was cooking at the time, which is why I couldn't participate in the chat. That's totally fine. Um, yeah, baked jacket spuds with cheese and beans. Nice. Mediterranean salad with goat cheese. I love that. I love your diet, Hater. You've got the best food. I mean, I like to eat crap too. Don't get me wrong, but it sounds like you eat very healthy, and I like your choices there. Nice. Larry, we camped in Yellowstone National Park backcountry, and we went down the Yellowstone River in your inflatable kayak. Oh, that's awesome. I know you're talking to Larry, but I'm eavesdropping on your conversation. I love inflatable kayaks. That's what I started with. I've got a couple of hard shells now, and it's great because like whenever somebody wants to go kayaking, I basically have enough to cover most of the people. But I got started with an inflatable, and what I loved about it is you could just throw it in your trunk and just be on your way. That was always great. Um, I still have an inflatable. I use it less just because I'm I don't know. It's just easier for me to throw the hard shell one in the truck. But yeah, that's where I got my start, and I still like it. You know, can still go places with it. All right, so I did mention that I wanted this whiteness to be up here. So this is what I like about these stick pastels. You can just kind of feel free to just kind of get wispy with it, I guess. You know what I would love to do? I would love to be able to draw or illustrate something, fast enough that I can like tell a story with it. That'd be awesome. So like I could tell you guys the story while I'm drawing, you know, what's going on in the story. So like I would love to tell you guys a story about a dragon, for example, and just be able to like draw the dragon as I'm telling that story. That would be cool. I'm not there. I can't draw that fast. There are street people who can, not street people, but street artists who can draw super fast. So this is what I like. So adding this highlight kind of changes the structure of this wing. Now you've got a wing that kind of comes up here and then just flies out like that, I guess. I don't know. You know. Yeah, you don't have to be perfect. The further you get, so this is all the focal point. The further you get away from that, you can just kind of be really abstract and just loose with how this wing actually works. Oh, there's a wing back there, whatever it's doing. We don't have time. All right, maybe I'll come back to that wing here in a minute. But wings are fun for dragons. I don't know how I feel about this wing, but you know, if you're doing like a big old dragon where it's flying or something like that, you can definitely have some fun with the wings. I like the wings because they're like kind of like Batman wings and stuff. I'm totally like into drawing Batman. I need to draw Batman again. It's been a while. Willie says it's easier to kayak with the hard ones, but it's hard to lug around. True story. Yeah. So like even the soft ones, it doesn't take that long to kind of set up. They're inflatable. They usually come with like an inflatable pump or something like that. It's not that terrible. Um, you don't have as much control with the inflatable one. Now they do have that. I guess it's a fin or a rudder, whatever the term is. That is there, so you do have some control over it, but it's not smooth gliding as maybe like a hard shelled one. Um, But you know, it's just a small difference. It's not like it matters so much that you know, you can't enjoy yourself in like a inflatable. I wholeheartedly enjoy inflatables. It's just, you know, a small difference. Absolutely try to eat healthy as much as possible. Yeah, every time you talk about what you're eating, Hater, I get very like, oh man, I want that, you know. It sounds great. I love like I don't think you're always talking like a Mediterranean diet. Sometimes it seems like it's Indian as well, but I love a Mediterranean diet. Um, I love Indian food as well. I love curry. I love all of that jazz. It's all good. So good. Let's see. Oh, it's Happy Pie Day. Yeah. Oh man, I should have drawn a pie. Dang it. This just pretend this dragon's eating a pie. I forgot it was Pie Day. Thanks, Mama Q. Appreciate it. Happy Pie Day, everybody. Hopefully you guys can eat a pie. Um, got a stand-up paddleboard, but I don't have a good handle on it yet. I suck. LOL. I've seen other people use those, and I don't know how they work either. It seems like that would be more like more exercise. So like the kayaking to me is just a fun, relaxing, lazy time where I'm just enjoying myself. I feel one with the water. Those stand-up paddle boards, I've seen people on them, and it just seems like you're expending a lot of effort to like maintain your balance and you know, all that. And I don't know if I would enjoy that as much. It seems like you're putting in a lot more effort than with the actual kayaks, which I really do enjoy. All right, so I decided because of the way this looked, it was kind of weird. So I'm changing the structure of this wing. I'm gonna have the wing actually come out here, which I think is consistent. You know, you don't know what's back here. It's consistent to have this wing start here. Got to create that structure, which means like you need this like I don't know, this pole, I guess. There you go. I am the Bob Ross of dragons. Get a happy little appendage, I guess, coming out of his back, and then you can create the structure from there. I think that looks pretty cool. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this look badass enough? Do I need to put more badassery in this? I promised you guys a badass dragon. Does this guy look badass, or does he look like a wussy dragon? Adding some highlights to the shale rock. That's what I'm going to call it. It's basically like rock that's just kind of like in layers and probably comes apart easily. Like if he did actually go to take flight or something like that, pieces of this rock would probably fall off. Let's see. Sapient Nomad. That's a fly dragon. Yeah, I'm a 90s kid. Yep. Pretty fly for a dragon guy. Fly dragon. I love it. Yeah. 90s kid. That's cool. Right there with you. Speaking of 90s, for those of you who care, like I know that not all of my audience is into um, X-Men and Marvel stuff and everything. X-Men 97 is coming out, and that is an animated show that is a continuation of the X-Men from back in the day. So like 1997, they back in 1997 they were showing this show and they canceled it. It is gone, and now they are bringing it back and they're picking up exactly where they left off. So like the exact same day. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if anybody else is, but that's coming out soon. Um, I'm just a huge fan of Marvel. I'm a huge fan of X Men. I remember watching that show. Everybody knows the theme song. I can't do it, but anyway, everybody knows the theme song. That is coming back into Disney Plus, which is cool. So just to let you guys know. I wouldn't use the inflatable where Larry lives. He's in Gator Country. Heck no. I had two inflatables. One of mine got punctured because I tried to use it over like rocks and stuff. So I wouldn't recommend the inflatables for rocks either. Willie says that's the baddest ass dragon I've ever seen. Cool, because I did promise you guys a badass dragon, so I'm glad that you think so. I'm sure other people might have different opinions, but I'm going to go with yours because yours is the best opinion, objectively. Objectively, this is a badass dragon. I don't think so. Willy nilly thinks so. So, I guess you go with willy nilly on this. So you do have different kinds of charcoals. I haven't really mentioned this in a while, but I probably should. So you have different hardnesses of charcoal, same as like you have for like pencils and stuff. This is a this is kind of a hard charcoal. It comes out looking darker than maybe some of the other kind. Um, Generally speaking, the softer the material is, the darker it's going to come out. I think they have it reversed on these labels. It says hard, but I think it's actually a softer charcoal. But certainly when it comes to these pencils, this is a soft pencil. You're going to get darker marks than you would with a harder pencil, and that's helpful for like creating these you know these different effects and so on. And the more you blend it and stuff, the less it looks defined here in these stones and stuff. So, you know, you don't want to over blend it, but you do kind of want to blend some of that stuff in as well. You can't really go wrong with these rocks. They're just basically a prop. I think it looks kind of cool. And who's to say what he's actually standing on? Like maybe there's some grass that's coming up or something like that. Maybe he's standing on the bodies of like dead unicorns or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this picture. You don't have to be precise. You can just scribble this stuff. I think he does look like a pretty badass dragon. Probably some features we can still do in here. Without a doubt, Jeremy is so underrated. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, you know, I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate it. Rome says that looks really cool. I took a quick power nap. I like it. Moon says, in the future, art historians everywhere will seek out these early original Jeremys. And so I was actually talking to somebody about that today. Just as a joke. First off, that will never happen. But we were talking about that. So like, I had thrown away a piece that I had worked on because I don't value it, and the person I was talking to was like, "Don't throw that away. You know, somebody that might be worth something someday, like to like some future person or whatever." And I'm like, "What do I care? I'm not getting the money for it, right?" So, so basically, he was making the point that somebody might collect these early pictures and stuff like that I did, and go off and try to make money off of them or whatever. And that's all well and good, but that doesn't go in my pocket, so I don't really care. I'm just going to throw it away if I want to. Anyway, all joking aside, that is never going to happen. I do fun art and stuff like that. This is never going to be famous art. I do this because it's fun for me. And I do it so a lot of the reasons I do this hasn't changed over the past, year that I have been doing this. So I started in January 2023 as a New Year's resolution to be more creative, create art every day, or at least once a week, and you know, a lot of my motivations for doing this hasn't changed since then. It's still trying to just be more productive, be a better person. I learn through the art that I create. You know, every single time I go to create something, I'm I'm solving some new problem. I'm looking at some new way of looking at things. Just the fact that I'm coming in twice a week and doing these pictures, that's enormously helpful for my like well-being and stuff like that. It helps me be disciplined. It gives me a goal, gives me something to look forward to every week. It gives me a responsibility. Like without having you guys hold me accountable, I may not actually do these things, which means I may not have to, and I may not, you know, ultimately I would probably be doing a lot less if you guys weren't holding me accountable to this. So these are all good things. Um, it's an art show, but also I like to think that this is like more of a productivity kind of show, uh, where you guys might get some inspiration to better yourself, not necessarily from like an artistic standpoint, but just from like a quality of life standpoint. Um, Whether you draw or not, I do recommend finding something that you enjoy doing and then having other people hold you accountable to it. So, like, make sure that you set a goal of improving, um, incremental improvements. So, like, you don't want to just like suddenly be Leonardo da Vinci overnight or something. That's not a realistic goal. But if you set yourself a goal of like, I'm going to improve a little bit over the next 3 months or something like that, that's a reasonable goal. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. So, like, a lot of you guys are talking about cooking because I happen to do my live stream during you know dinner time for most of you folks. So like you could set a goal for yourself of just being a better cook or something, and or just trying different meals or something like that. And you don't have to be like you don't have to set a goal of being better or something. It's just like goals in general. So like maybe the goal is I'm going to try different foods for different meals and so on. So, you set that as a goal and you have other people hold you accountable. So like maybe, you share that meal with your family or, friend um or a YouTube audience, whatever. I should probably eat my meals on here. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. I feel like I feel like what I'm doing here is it's something everybody should do. And it really doesn't matter so much if you're doing it towards art or just some other interest of yours and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. The whole point is you set yourself a goal and then you have other people hold you accountable to it, right? So then the goal is something that's not just you, because like if it was just you, you're probably gonna fail. If it's something that your other people are holding you to, then you're more likely to succeed. And that's all I'm talking about. That's all this is. So I couldn't do this without you guys because there'd be nobody there like holding me accountable or whatever. If that makes sense. Moon says you underestimate your talents, my friend. Ah, I don't know. I'm so talented. I'm just kidding. Uh, I honestly don't think that I'm the best judge of my talents. I think that's up to you guys. Different people are going to have different opinions, but I do appreciate that. Thank you. But no, I don't think that supposed to judge my talents. I think that I'm supposed to create the work, put it out there, and you guys are supposed to judge. Um, Now Jeremy is going to have people going through his trash. That's funny. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. That's how you know you made it when strangers are going through your trash looking for your art. Um, there's one of my favorite poets is Allen Ginsberg. He's a beat poet. Most of you guys probably know him. He was pretty famous back in the day. But anyway, he got mugged one time, and they took his wallet. And it's so funny. He commented like they took his wallet. They took like I don't know $20 or something he had in there, and they were like, you got anything else? And he's like, no, that's it. And they were happy enough to steal his $20. The funny thing is, he had a briefcase with him with $80,000 worth of poetry in it. And it's just, it goes to show you like what people value, you know, like those the people who mugged him, they just want cash. His publisher wanted that completed poetry that he had in his briefcase because it was worth $80,000. Anyway, yeah, so maybe somebody might root through my trash someday. I doubt it, but that would be funny. Jeremy being a Londoner Cockney, we can't stick to one cuisine. London also offers a wide range of food options, including kebabs, Chinese, sushi, Indian biryani, Jamaican jerk, reflecting its multicultural nature. Yeah, that's what I love about London. I would love to visit London just for that. So what was it? Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay, the British version. I know that there was like a U.S. version. I used to watch that all the time, and yeah, I mean it was just great. He would go to all these different like London establishments and stuff, and kind of whip them into shape and stuff. And I quickly learned that yeah, you guys have a huge multicultural cuisine situation over there. I would love to visit just for that standpoint. But yeah, I learned all that watching Gordon Ramsay, who is like one of my favorite British guys, by the way. I love Gordon Ramsay. I think a lot of what he does, like on TV and stuff, is just for effect and stuff. If you go back and watch Gordon Ramsay from like his British shows and stuff, he's less over the top. Is he like the what was it? The F word is where he just goes off and talks about different cuisines and stuff. Anyway, he's not like yelling at people and stuff in that like Hell's Kitchen and stuff. He kind of earned a reputation for like being a little bit over the top and yelling at people, but I don't think he's that way in real life. London is a global city. I believe it. Um, I definitely like jerk chicken. I've been to Jamaica once, and I love it. I love the cuisine there. Also, I've got a brother who's a chef, and he's really into like Caribbean culture, so he's always making like jerk chicken. I love it. Get some of these teeth in here. Anyway, I think we're getting pretty close to being done on this. What else are you guys saying in here? That dragon looks very 3D. Thank you, kid. Yeah. So like the way you make, so it looks a little sketchy, which is fine. I guess that's the style for this. You know, it's not like I can change it now, but I don't know if it looks as rendered as the elephant, but I think it's fine. Anyway, the idea is that yeah, creating a drawing with these three layers where you have the shadow, the midtone, which is the paper itself, and then the highlights. It creates a really 3D looking picture. So I would say that this dragon kind of maybe looks a little um, almost like a little bit gothic, really. Like that's unintentional. Like I feel like this dragon could easily be a scarecrow or something else. Some sort of like cryptozoological creature or something like that. Maybe a chupacabra or something like that. I think this style would be very cool for that. But anyway, I appreciate you saying it looks three dimensional. I think that this particular style really works well for that. It's still very sketchy, which I like. I think that's kind of cool. Not sketchy as in like you should be paranoid or anything like that. Uh, just sketchy as in actual sketched. Friendship building block. Neat. All right. So I do think that probably I'm at a good stopping point. I think that this is probably as far as this particular drawing can go without overworking it or just kind of going off the rails. Um, there's some things I probably could do differently here. Like I'm not totally happy about the wing over here. I'm okay with this wing. Probably some more back here. Yeah, I'm gonna. Sorry. Before I go, I'm just kind of. You can tell the dogs back there are kind of thinking it's time to go, but I think get some of this wing up in here, just kind of like compassing the guy. I think that's kind of cool. Kind of almost like a frame for him. And then I'm not happy with this wing over here. I think I can kind of band this with like a little bit of highlights. I don't know. I think that's fine. Anyway, it is what it is, really. That's probably as far as I can go with it. But I'm pretty happy with this dragon. I think it looks badass. That was it. That was the promise. The promise was the badass dragon. I think this guy's pretty badass. Yeah, I actually like maybe just introducing some white over here. Just kind of make this look like a moonlit night. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I'm going off the rails here. Just have them kind of poking out. Get maybe a little bit of white back there. Actually, I like that. It's kind of lightly blended in. You never know where you're gonna go with your art. This is why I'm saying it's the Bob Ross the Dragons here, because like you can do whatever you want. It's your own happy little world. Can you imagine the commentary if Bob Ross actually did draw dragons? Like, get your happy little dragon over here eating, wizards. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with this dragon. I think it's probably a good stopping point. So that dragon would be kind of cool on a Maker Smart model. That'd be a lot. That'd be funny. What would you call this dragon? I would call him Gilberto. Gilberto the dragon. He's kind of got the face, right? So, like, for those of you guys who know who Gilberto is, he's this golden bracelet kind of dragon, and he kind of has this face. Like Gilberto's face is a little more Chinese in nature. It would have like a little bit of a curl coming off and stuff, but you can kind of still see it in there. Thorn is a good one. I like Thorn for the name of it. Hader is throwing out a general invitation. He's saying that anyone in the chat considering a trip to England, especially London, would love to hear the opportunity to host you guys, or would love to have the opportunity to host you guys. Larry, Kid Rome, because of Can, sorry, in the moon. That's pretty cool. I love that because that then lets me know that you guys are becoming a bit of a community, which is awesome. I love that you guys get along it. I have not had to use any kind of like mod powers in here yet, which is awesome. I love that you guys just come in here to chill out and relax and stuff like that. Hopefully you guys enjoy this as a kind of relaxing part of your week. Obviously this is not meant to be stressful. I'm not stressed, even though like I should be stressed trying to create a picture, but yeah. But you guys should not feel stressed at all. And so I'm glad that you guys enjoy coming in and hanging out, and I'm glad that you guys all get along. Unlike these dogs over here, which are currently trying to eat each other. But anyway, I'll probably go ahead and let you guys go. I think that's about as far done as I can probably get in like 2 hours. So Rome Dog's on his way. That's cool. Cool. All right. Well, hey, if you guys do go to London, I want to hear about it. Like, that sounds like a fun trip. Maybe I'll even join you guys at some point. Not today, though. I've got a few projects I got to get done before I can even think about traveling this year. Anyway, Badass Dragon. Hopefully you guys had a good time. All right. Dogs, chill out. All right. You guys want to come and say hi on camera? Let's see. Go back to just me. There you go. There you go, Guinness. You want to say hi down on camera? Bear, you want to come over here and say hi? They always like looking at you. You got to look at the camera. The camera's up here. All right. See that? Up there? Dog don't care. Anyway.
Thanks, Lorraine. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. You guys are awesome. Just let me know if you need to test your mods, and I'll cause some trouble. I think the only real mod I have in here is maybe Hooli. I don't know. It's been a while. I haven't actually added any mods. You guys have just been great. I haven't needed to kick anybody out or anything like that. But anyway, I appreciate it. So hopefully you guys like this dragon. I wanted to take a break from doing like the coffee paintings and things like that for a bit. So probably next week I'm gonna do a couple of dogs. Larry sent me some beautiful dogs, so I'm itching to get at those. I think I have a few other things to work on, but anyway, it's nice to take a break and do a dragon every now and then. But anyway, that's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. I know tomorrow's Friday, so happy Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. St. Patrick's Day weekend, if you're into that. I may or may not do a live stream on Sunday. I haven't decided yet. So I'm not committing to that, but I do enjoy St. Patrick's Day, so maybe I will. All right. But that's it for me. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I'll see you guys later. Bye. See you Tuesday. Or maybe Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.